Hello everyone. In this video, let us see the important interview program so called Fibonacci number from LeetCode platform. So that is 509 from easy level. So first, let us see the problem statement. So the Fibonacci numbers, commonly denoted f of n, form, form a sequence called the Fibonacci sequence such that each number is the sum of two preceding ones, okay, starting from 0 and 1. So in Fibonacci series, so first two terms are fixed, so 0 and next, so 1, and the next two terms in the Fibonacci series you'll get so by adding the previous two terms, okay. So here some n variable value passed to the function. Okay, we need to find out so that and return to the main method. Okay, so I'll explain. So the iterative approach. So for this Fibonacci series, no, actually we can design so in recursion and next to that in dynamic programming, memorization and tabulation method. Okay, I'll explain those solutions so later. So let me complete iterative solution so in this video. Okay. So in topics also you can find the same thing. You can design with the help just math concept and next of all recursion, memorization and dynamic programming all this. Okay. Next to this, we are going to observe the similar questions like climbing strides, all this from so dynamic programming. Okay. So first, let me explain so the Fibonacci series here. So the what are the first two terms here? 0 and 1. Okay. So here initially I'm going to take so these values into some variables called so n1 and n2. Okay. And next two terms in Fibonacci series we'll get by adding previous two terms, right? Okay. So that is 0 plus 1, it's 1. Okay. We'll get that one into the next one. So now I'm going to do one thing here. Okay. So I'll store that value into some variable called so n3 here. Okay. And next. So next time, so 1 plus 1 result, so 2 we need to produce, right? Okay. So for doing that, so these two values should be present in so n1 and n2. Okay, so means what are the n2 value you are observing, we need to store it into n1, and what are the n3 value you are observing, we need to store it in n2 here. Okay, so means nothing but swap. N2 value need to take it into n1 and n3 value into n2 so that in n3 so variable so we are going to get the result 2. So we are going to take some fixed expression. So inside the loop that is n3 is equals to n1 plus n2. Initially, so in n3, n1 and n1, n2 values result stores. Okay. Next time into n3 variable we want 2. Okay. So for getting that in n1 and n2 we want these values. Okay. For that sake, what we are doing here, so n2 value we need to store in n1 and n3 value into so n2 means so swap. N1, N2 is equals to N2 and N3. This is nothing but so addition and swap program. Okay, that's a simple logic. So here we need to repeat the same thing here. Okay, next again after completion of addition N2 value, you need to take it into N1, N3 into N2 so that in N3 we are going to get so the value 3. Okay, so now so listen here. For suppose if observe the constraints here. Okay, n values given in between so the 0 to 30 here. Okay, for suppose if input is 0 means if n value is 0. Okay, in that scenario we need to print output as 0 here. Okay, so that is nothing but f of 0 value. So if some 0 value pass it to the function. Okay, so we need to print the 0 at the term, so that is 0. Okay, I hope you understood. For suppose if so 1 pass it to the function, if input is 1. Okay, n value is 1. Then we need to print the first term in the Fibonacci series, that is 1. Okay. Next, if so 2 pass it to the function. Okay. If n value is 2, we need to print the second term in the Fibonacci series, that is 1 here. Okay. Next, f of 3 means 2. So just let us stop here. Okay. And let us do one thing. So for suppose these two values n1 and n2, 0 and 1, directly will take it into the variables, right? Okay. Now, how many times we need to iterate the loop here? Okay, so we need to find it. So let us take, so the loop we need to repeat for n number of times. Okay, in range of n. Okay, these statements let us take inside the loop. Now observe. For suppose if we take n value 2, okay, so how many times? So loop iterates here 2 times, right? Okay, so initially into n3 variable we'll get 0 plus 1, it's 1. Next, so n1 and n2 variables, so updates like this, okay, so that is 1 and 1. One more time, so loop iterates here. Next time 1 plus 1, it's 2. Okay. Next, observe once again values get swapped here. Into n1 we are going to get 1, and into n2 we are going to get 2. Okay. And what is the f2 value we need to return? So it's 1, right? Means where that 1 value is stored here. So in n1 variable. In n1 variable, you can observe here after completion of 2 iterations. So means a loop iterates for 2 times, you'll get values up to here. Okay. N3 value we are getting, so that 2. In that scenario, N3 value we are getting, so 2. So in that scenario, after getting n3 value 2, so we are performing swap, right? Into n1 we are taking, so n2 variable value, into n2 we are taking n3. So finally in n1 we are getting, so the 1, right? So means that is nothing but we need to return, so n1 value here, okay? You can check with the different inputs also, you can understood this. But suppose if you want to, so if you take 3, so loop needs iterates for 3 times, right? Okay. So means in that scenario, we need to return, so the 2 here. So you can check the same thing. If n value is 3, we need to return 2. If n value is 2, we need to return 1. Okay. So that is a program here. I'll type and execute so we can check. N1, N2 I'm taking, so 0 and 1, and next loop I'm so running for n number of times. Okay. N3 into N3 we are taking so N1 plus N2 result, and swap N2 comma N3, and finally returning so the N1 value. Okay, this is simple Fibonacci series program with iterative approach here. Base cases accepted, and next of all, as remain test case also passed. It's taking more so time. Actually, the best solution is dynamic programming here. Okay, so that one let us see the later. Okay, this is a solution for Fibonacci series. Simple. First two terms are fixed. So I'm taking those values into n1 and n2 here. Next, I am running loop for n times. So we're Fibonacci series means adding previous two terms, right? I'm getting so that result into n3 here. Afterwards, so swapping. I'm rotating the same variables here. Okay. So for getting the next two terms in Fibonacci series, I'm not using any extra variables. Okay. So finally, after completion of n iterations on returning n1 value, we can so return whatever the nth terms are required. Okay. So we need to return integer type from this function. You can observe the method signature also here. Okay. So that's it. I hope so each and everyone understood this. So thank you. Thank you.